go through all of the stuff that we are going through with all of these changes, and we're trying to add our normal things that we used to do before back into the rotation. And here we go. Now we are officially live on our YouTube channel. All right. So like I mentioned, got to get into a lot of basketball conversation as I have all these 50 bajillion screens on me right now. But we are going to go single cam, at least for the first segment here, because yeah, we had a little bit of a late start and had to get the other cams going. But as much as I know you guys are bummed that for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, you won't be able to see the single close-up versions of our faces, right? But that is something. But at least you guys are listening to us at the very least. All right, we got to get into it, of course, Paul. You know, I'm still going to, even though Hawaii lost, I am still going to rally and shake the pom-poms.
As you should. Woo!
It's a pom-pom party. Because, you know, as a bummer as it was, I mean, we mentioned it so much yesterday that Hawaii wasn't supposed or isn't supposed to win. That's what we kept saying. And I honestly, as positive as I was yesterday going into the game, I don't take back anything I said. I thought the way that the game played, everything I said ended up, like, things that I said could potentially affect Arkansas affected Hawaii, especially in like those first 5-6 minutes, because Hawaii did come out a little slow. The shots were not falling in the beginning. They were getting open shots. They were getting good looks. I was not mad at any of those attempts that they took in the beginning. I thought they were really good shots, and they just weren't falling. Even a couple of the inside shots, like I think it was Big Fish that got like a putback opportunity as well, and that didn't go in, and it was just taking them a long time to get that first basket. And that was something I was saying yesterday, that Arkansas could miss a bunch of shots. And so there's nothing, but when Hawaii finally kind of settled down, you know, Bullock, you could tell he wanted to start taking over the game, and he did. It was starting to change, and Hawaii had cut the deficit down to 10, never really got below that mark, but being, you know, just down by 10 and having a chance, I didn't think that they looked bad. They were able to compete against this Arkansas squad this was the first game of Arkansas I watched, and I don't know if it's because there was so much, you know, like glazing of this Razorbacks team and Darius Acuff Jr. that I went into this game expecting more from Arkansas. And what I saw, I did not think that they are a team that's going to win the national championship. Or if they are, then this is definitely not the same level of men's college basketball. And by same level, I mean what we've been saying in this NIL era is that the talent is spread across multiple schools now, as it should be, which is great. But they're not like a team that stands out to me where I'm like, whoa, that team is awesome. And, you know, despite what our Michael Lascara wanted to say, I do not think that Hawaii got outclassed. Like, I'm sure if you look at the you know, the final score, right, Hawaii losing 97-78, the Razorbacks almost putting up 100 on Hawaii, I don't think that's indicative of Hawaii not being able to compete or not belong on the same hardwood as this Arkansas team. So I thought that they could walk away from there, definitely not as good as they wanted to perform, and we'll hear what they had to say in the postgame as well. But I thought they competed when the right opportunities, and you know what? They just had some defensive breakdowns. The transition defense definitely, I thought, was probably the worst thing that Hawaii did. I think that was you and I were going back and forth watching that. I was like, can we get back on defense? Like, to me, it wasn't even so much. Yes, there were times when at Arkansas, like, were athletic. Like, that was obvious. You're going to watch it. I mean, they're throwing up alley-oops and his entire forearm is above the rim. Like, I get it. But it wasn't to the point where I'm just like, wow, Hawaii, yeah, they should not be ever on the same floor as this team. I thought they were competitive. Like I said, they had open looks, and they were open looks in the beginning of the game. They weren't like the ending garbage points where Arkansas is like, you know, settling down on defense, and they weren't that good of a defensive team either. And that's why I'm like, this Arkansas team is not going to win the national championship. And if they do, I will come back here and I will apologize. I'm not, you know, like, wasn't familiar with your game, yada, yada, yada. But the HPU, tell you what, they might fall to that High Point team. But no, I thought Hawaii, that's why we're going to still shake the pom-poms, as a bummer as it was yesterday and how disappointing it was. that the score wasn't a bit closer and there wasn't more of a tight finish at the end. Like we didn't get a Duke Siena game, Duke coming out on top after all in that game, by the way, if you missed it. There's still a lot to be proud of with this team because I still feel like even though the score does not indicate that, if you watch the game, I felt that they were as competitive as they could be.
I am genuinely proud of the way that they played outside of the first 7 minutes. And it's not that I'm not proud of them for the first 7 minutes. I was just disappointed with the way that it went. Obviously, the result is not what they wanted. They said as much in the postgame. But if you take those 7 minutes out, the Rainbow Warriors played within 3 points of Arkansas. And that is why I sit here and I'm like, they weren't totally blown out of the water, outclassed, whatever. They started slow. That happens. You know, they missed some shots that were good looks. I mean, Big Fish got an open look from straight away early on. He got 2 looks from right in front of the rim that didn't go down. It just, sometimes that happens. And to Arkansas's credit, they did an excellent job attacking the paint consistently. They got Isaac Johnson in foul trouble early on, and when he got in foul trouble, it really slowed down those rally efforts by the Rainbow Warriors because you no longer had the size in the middle to stop the lob threat that was Arkansas. Because, I understand that they are excellent, but at the end of the day, Hawaii's defense didn't do enough to stop penetration, and when guards got into the lane, when wings got into the lane, when they got out in transition, they got these 2-on-1 opportunities, and Big Fish is on the bench. I love Harry Ruliadeff. I think he's a phenomenal defender. Harry's 6'8", 6'9", and like, not a lanky 6'8", 6'9", like a normal 6'8", 6'9". Hilarious thing to say. So they're throwing lobs up over him. And the same thing with Gitas Namiksha. And, you know, I like Yassine Toomey, but he's a guard who's 6'10". He just happens to have to play center. And this was something that we did talk about way, way back, if you remember, when we were talking about the Rainbow Warriors recruiting efforts. It was the one thing that I was really hoping to see them grab that they didn't. Because they did everything else. They shopped on the market excellently. But I really wanted them to have a legitimate backup center and more like a vertical threat, if you remember. That was the thing that I consistently said. And that was more so because of games like this, where you look at it and Isaac Johnson has gone through foul woes all year. Mm-hmm. You've seen that. Hawaii's been able to survive those all year. But in the games against Oregon, the games against Arizona State, the games against your higher-level opponents, you needed Big Fish out there most times because you needed his size, his length, etc. Because it's great that the rest of the Hawaii, 6'8", 6'9", a couple of 6'8" guys, actually, a lot of size, even Dre, 6'6", whatever. That's what these P4 teams do have, though, out on the wing and at guard and whatever. So it's important that you remain big at center, that you have somebody out there. And when they didn't anymore, it did make it a lot more difficult to defend because Hawaii, to their credit, they did take away things. I thought that they played well outside of the first 7 minutes, and also the final 3 minutes of the first half.
Arkansas turned over the ball 10 times compared to Hawaii's 12. That's relatively even, right? You have a fair shot to make points off of almost the equal amount of turnovers, so they essentially cancel each other out. And
I will sit here and I'll say this, where I will also apologize. I said that the 15.5-point spread was disrespectful to Hawaii. Clearly it wasn't. It was the appropriate spread because that's where it was sitting right at the end of the game until a couple of late buckets. But, yeah, I don't know. This is an Arkansas squad that has NBA caliber talent on it. At least 3 players on that team will play in the NBA. Probably 4. Maybe 5, but probably 3 to 4.
Yeah.
I love our guys. I'm hoping 1 to 2 of them get a shot in the NBA. like a shot to latch onto a roster and whatever. We're talking about top 15 picks in next year's draft, top 20 picks in next year's draft. So for them to compete with them 33 out of the 40 minutes, I'm disappointed, obviously, it wasn't a different result. I'm disappointed, obviously, that it's not going to continue. Similar to when I talked about the Rainbow, or when we talked about the Rainbow Wahine falling in the Big West Championship. It's disappointing because we love this team so much. You want to watch them more. But it doesn't take away from the pride that you feel for the season. And that's why we start with the pom-poms and we start the pom-pom party and all this stuff, because it is an historic season still. I mean, how many? This is the 6th team in the history, in the 106-year history, because EG loves saying that.
I know.
The 106-year history of Hawaii basketball to make the NCAA tournament. It deserves celebration. So I am still going to celebrate it. I am not going to sit here and lament a 19-point loss to the team that won the SEC tournament, which is maybe the best league, one of the 2 best leagues in all of college basketball. You lost to a great team. I don't know if it's the greatest team, but you lost to a great team. And there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. I thought that they played hard. I thought they did Hawaii proud. And I thought that at the end of the day, they can hold their heads high as they return home, because they made Hawaii proud from start to finish this season.
Also, the NIL era is pretty darn crazy, as you guys know by now, because allegedly the disparity and the difference in NIL budgets for the University of Hawaii compared to Arkansas is approximately just over $10 million. And that is why it's crazy that, and hopefully they get a handle on it soon, is just the value. Because if you're Arkansas, like, say, okay, we always talk about MLB and there's no salary cap, but there is clearly a difference between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the No City Athletics, right? Like, there is a 7 game series. The Dodgers will wipe them out, like 10+ runs probably every. I mean, maybe it's not that crazy, but nonetheless, you can see the difference. And yeah, there was glimmers, as we mentioned. There is that athleticism, but I mean, if you're talking $10 million difference in NIL that roster has compared to ours, you're expecting like a 50-point win in basketball. Like, you're expecting the outclassed term for you to see play out on the basketball court. And that's why I think you can be so proud in how, like, all of these guys that chose to play for the University of Hawaii and what Coach Ganot and his staff is able to do with competing against the highest level and against other opponents in the Big West and hopefully in the Mountain West next season. It's like 10 million. And then you think about it on the flip side, on the even more positive side, you do look at the upset that happened in Hawaii's bracket with High Point over Wisconsin, about the same dollar amount difference. I think actually a bit more. By the way, did you High Points? I was not familiar with your game in terms of the school that you are.
It's so funny.
It is like fancy AF. Like, you guys,
one way.
If you have not looked up High Point, it is
school.
fancy, like fancy. There's like 2 steakhouses on their campus and stuff like that where the students can go eat. And then like there's a sports bar. Like, you have basically a mini city that's part of the campus that is High Point, and like their gym that they play in.
Oh, it's awesome.
Looks like
top notch.
A business building, though. When you walk in, it has like the double stairs and there's like a fountain in the middle, almost like, or like a hotel when you go into the gym. Yeah, it's pretty fancy, but nonetheless, they clearly put a lot of more money into their facilities and their education, as I know traditionally you should. So the fact that their NIL budget, at least allegedly what is out there publicly that people can dig up, about a $10 million difference between High Point and Wisconsin as well. And they took down Wisconsin. So that's why it is funny in this NIL era, and you got to chuckle that we've seen and we will continue to see. There were a bunch of upsets yesterday, actually, that we'll get to a little later in the show, where and you laugh at the schools that invested that much money into their sports, and then they don't get that investment on, or that return on investment, because it's just ridiculous on getting upset, and Hawaii not getting dunked on like by 50 points by an Arkansas team who has that much resources, and this legendary head coach in John Calipari. And even more so, why we double down on the fact that it's awesome, and you can just so much pride for this University of Hawaii men's basketball team.
Yeah, I am, once again, not taking yesterday as a negative. It was an added bonus to what has been a special season for this team. They showed that they can compete for the most part. You can't have that type of start. And we can get more into the game itself in the moments of it, because like we've talked about, I mean, Hawaii brought it within 10 multiple times, or brought it within 11 multiple times. It was single digits in the first half with about 6 minutes left, and then Big Fish picks up his second foul. He heads to the bench, and it's an immediate 6-0 run by Arkansas. Hawaii still had a little bit of life. And you sit here and you wonder, it's like, man, if they don't disallow Hunter Erickson's banked-in three right at halftime, does that change anything? Do you feel good about the momentum still that you're going into the second half with? Does that change anything? And to be fair, I mean, we sit here and we talk about how Hawaii competed for the 33 minutes, or I sit here and I talk about that, and I'll totally hear out the counter-argument that I don't know how much of that you can say, because you don't know how Arkansas would play should it be a dogfight further than the first few minutes, right? Where it's like, did they start, I don't want to say take it easy, but did they start to fool around a little bit more, or not run their sets as much and whatever, and then that's what allowed Hawaii to get back into it, and then they're like, oh shoot, we have to focus back up. So I would hear that argument out, but ifs and buts, candied nuts, blah, 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 blah. Hawaii competed for 33 of the 40 minutes. I'm proud of them for that, and I'm proud of this team. It was fun to watch them this year. I hope that they can repeat it next year in the Mountain West, and that's the thing you bring up, the NIL era, the transfer portal era. You never know what next year's team is going to look like, for better or for worse.
Man, those 10-point deficits kill me, because I forget which part it was where they cut it down, and Hawaii had gotten the rebound off of a missed Arkansas shot when they were down 10, and they couldn't capitalize. They got stuck in that 10. They had opportunities to cut it down to single digits, and then it's just couldn't get past that hump. I was like, no, because it's not like they got it to 10 and then Arkansas they did it a couple of times, but Arkansas would score and whatever. There was one of the moments where they did have an opportunity to cut it to the single digit, and then they just could not get it in there. And
I think the moment you're talking about came in the first half. So it came during that run where Hawaii hit a plethora of three-pointers that it made it a 9-point game. Arkansas responded with a few points, or a few baskets. Then I believe it was Hunter Erickson lays it in, makes it a 10-point game. Arkansas threw it away on the other end.
That's what it was.
It was a turnover, timeout, and I remember getting a text from Zoar Nedd, and it said, biggest possession of the game coming up right here. Because it was a 10-point game and an opportunity for Hawaii with under 4 minutes left in the first half to make it single digits. And we talk so much about those little winning times and the quadrants of games that are so important, and outside of the quarters, no. But the first 4 minutes, the last 4 minutes, the first 4 minutes, the last 4 minutes of each half. Hawaii lost 3 of the 4 of those. I would argue that they won the first 4 minutes of the second half. I thought that they played well coming out of halftime. They lost the first 4 minutes of the game badly. We'll just leave it there. They lost the last 4 minutes of the first half after they got it back down to about 10 to 12 points. They lost the final 4 minutes of the game where they got it back down once again. Because if you think about it, Hawaii got it down to, I think it was 12 once again, pretty late, relatively late, with 6 minutes left. I almost did it. With about 6 minutes left, where Hawaii was right there and had an opportunity still, and Arkansas just stepped on the gas just to put it away at the end. So in those winning times, Hawaii all season has done such a phenomenal job dominating those stretches. Against Arkansas, they didn't do so, and that was a big difference in this game.
Yeah. They quite literally lost the first 4 minutes of the game because Dre Bullock didn't score until the 15:53 mark in the first half is when Dre Bullock scored that layup when Hawaii got its first point. So, but nonetheless, still proud. And when we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, we'll let you guys hear actually the post game following yesterday's loss in the NCAA first round. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Feeling under the weather and tired of waiting to feel better? Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautiful list of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Yes, so far so good. I know a little bit of a struggle bus this morning, but that's kind of been the MO lately.
It goes on the first trip back.
I mean, you had to like throw it into the universe that on Wednesday you're like, oh, nothing's changed for the first time on this day.
Yeah, I challenged
Boom.
you.
Yesterday it was like brand new studio. TV is up. Boom, we're doing YouTube today. Let's go. Monday, boom, you're going to have a new mic stand.
I more or less challenged you, I guess. I didn't mean to. I really was just making an offhanded comment, but I guess
challenge accepted. And challenge completed
I
or
was
continuing.
Say, every single day, it does seem like more and more stuff gets laid out elsewhere. I thought that overall, it's a pretty nice visual considering we are still in the pretty early throes of our new studio. So you can see the replica trophy back there. You can see the Marcus signed picture and the signed helmet over there from, I've forgotten who signed that helmet. Is that?
Let's put this over here.
That makes it a little
just
less.
to hide the wires. I just
makes
noticed
it a
that.
little less wiry.
Make it look prettier over there. Or we can maybe we'll like put the helmet there, and then that way.
Yeah,
like,
that's not a bad idea.
Should get that way it blocks it.
Because like we could probably have like
That
the
didn't really
wires
help.
go out of the helmet, because they all kind of
Yeah.
they're together in one place.
All right, there we go. We kind of
Anyway.
have it working a little bit. All right.
Yeah, it's way better.
Anyways, yeah, well, we've been talking about, obviously, the UH men's basketball team and their season officially coming to an end after losing to Arkansas yesterday, 97-78 in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Their first trip back there in a decade. But shout out to all of the fans that were out. Shout out to all the former players that were out there. I saw Aaron Valdez, Brock Steptoe, Zach Busher was there. Saw a lot of the photos there on social media, and a bunch of the fans who have been traveling. And that's something that means has meant and continues to mean a lot to these players, especially the one-year players. Like, well, you'll hear from just a second from Coach Eran Ganot, and also players Dre Bullock and Isaac Big Fish Johnson. And for Dre Bullock and Isaac Johnson, and of course Eran Ganot, but specifically the players, how the impact that you, the fans, have had, and the community on players who didn't really know like where they were committing to per se, and how dedicated and how passionate and how caring this community is. We know it. This is part of the reason why we love this beautiful state, is because the people make it what it is, right? But a lot of times when you're on the outside looking in, you just think, oh, Hawaii's like this tourist destination, yada, yada, yada. I'm not sure what to expect. So to hear the true, like, just gratitude that Dre Bullock and Isaac Johnson share for how they feel playing here and how they will remember this experience forever, it speaks testament to the fan base here, because I honestly, like I said, it comes from a genuine place, and it's not somewhere that you can go. And Isaac Johnson, someone's that been to a bigger school that has a lot more bells and whistles, but he essentially fell out of love with basketball at one point, and was able to find that love once again here in Hawaii. So without further ado, though, this post game starts first with the opening statement from UH men's basketball head coach Eran Ganot.
Yeah, I'll get to this, but number one, I'm just beaming with pride for our everything Hawaii. These student athletes to my right who are in the locker room are hurting. And both can be true. You can hurt and also be very proud of what they've done, you know, in all facets, on the floor, in the classroom, in the community, inspirational to the state, our university, our athletic department, our boosters, our recruits, our administration. I mean, they've checked every box. So there's a finality to this. It's what we all sign up for. It's what we live for. You know, perspective is everything. I've said this, you've heard me. You know, the ups, enjoy it for a second, get back to work. The downs, let it hurt for a second, get back to work, keep moving forward. It's okay to be human. I like our guys' personalities, and so I'm very thankful to them for what they've done for all of us, and a legacy left behind that gives us a bright future. I do want to thank or give credit to Arkansas, Coach Calipari, their staff, their kids. They played really well, obviously. I could talk a little bit about more of the game, but, you know, obviously not a great start for us. Weren't really there consistently defensively. Liked their offense and maybe missed some open shots, but they had a lot to do with that. And I'll talk more about the game, but so I want to give credit to that great team. Wish them well moving forward. There's a reason they won the SEC and are playing really hot. And last thing I'll say is just very thankful to our fans who didn't travel and the ones who did travel. It's an honor to go through this battle with this group who represented our state, our university athletic department, basketball, the NCAA, the incredible Big West Conference, and there are better days ahead. Thank you.
Isaac, you could see, you know, the emotions coming out as, you know, you were saying goodbye to everyone in the stands and leaving the court. Just kind of what was going through your head, and just kind of recapping just this season and just, you know, everything that's you've been able to do up to this point.
We had so much family there today. are my immediate family, my parents, my wife, my father-in-law, and then the rest of our Hawaii ohana. I just was so grateful for them, for the love and support that they've given me. When I came to Hawaii, I was newly married, and I had no idea what was going on with life. And in basketball, I had zero confidence. And so for this coaching staff to believe in me from day one, for my teammates the same way, and especially the fans who rallied behind us all season, I was bummed that we couldn't play today the way that they deserve. But I am grateful for the way that we were able to put on all season. And so it was just a thank you to them. So mahalo to everybody who came to help get us to this point.
Coach Calipari talked about those first 5 minutes, and I think at one point it got to like 20-4. But
Thanks for the reminder.
But obviously it was clear from the outset, their athleticism, their speed, they weren't just playing above the rim; they were playing like 2 feet above the rim. So do you think there was kind of a shock factor there as far as the level of athletes and the level of just basketball that they were playing in those first 5 minutes?
Can we take that?
We see Dre do it every single day in practice. But yeah, I mean, they're great athletes. That's what we expected while we were here. We watched film on them, but we know at the end of the day, 2 points is 2 points. And so it wasn't necessarily a shock factor from the level that they're at. It just was we didn't execute to the point that we should have and allowed them to get easy buckets like that. And so, not that we were taken aback or shy from what was happening. It's just basketball. So.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't surprised. Coaches did a good job prepping us for scout. We've seen they film. They can really fly, get out there. They're fast. Credits to them. They're talented. But, yeah, I mean, we just got to do a better job preparing, those first 5-6 minutes. And we just started out on a bad note. And, I mean, just got to learn and grow from it. And, I mean, credits to them.
Yeah, I think I give them a lot of credit. Sometimes both can be true, where they played well and it could be not a shock from us. Just give them credit. I think what was disappointing in that first, we were talking to our team and they roared back, obviously, but we missed some good looks and we compounded it. I think we weren't quite there. Transition defense for sure where we've been. Missed some blockouts when we had some good defensive stands, but I think it'd be a disservice to them to say it was a shut. Maybe I think it's a credit to them. They were very impressive, and they've obviously come in here hot, winning the top conference in the country, and they kept it going. I'm proud of our guys, fought back, but there was a deficit that we were trying to manage. A couple times cut it to 10, but give them credit.
You're listening to the NCAA Tournament postgame with University of Hawaii head coach Eran Ganot, along with players Dre Bullock and Isaac Johnson.
When something's going on in the islands, people love to rally around it, whether native, local, on 9th Island, anything like that. And being able to do that and represent Hawaii on a national stage, especially when it's, been a scary time with all the storms that have been happening on the islands, just what did it mean to bring that aloha and bring that just mana just to the national stage and just for everyone to see?
It meant a lot. Shout out our fans. Like, they showed up Portland, they showed up in Vegas, they show up in Hawaii, Cali, wherever we're going to. Like, our fans is always there supporting us. Definitely meant a lot. I mean, didn't get the job done what we wanted to, but I'm just happy to put on this uniform, play our hearts out there, and leave it all out there on the floor. But, I mean, shout out to the fans, though, for sure. We got the best fans in the world. Result didn't expect what we the result wasn't what we expected, but like I said, I'm just grateful for this experience and going out there for one last time, putting on a show. So
I'd say Hawaii will always be a piece of home, no matter where I am in the world. I've lived in different parts of Oregon, Utah, Ohio, Germany, and now Hawaii. And Hawaii will always be part of home. And so I think that's due to the support and the love from the people. Just everyday life, people recognize us, and they're not afraid to show their support and their love for us. And that means so much. I think our team has done a wonderful job of not getting cocky. We have a lot of humility on our team, and I think that's what's brought us so far and brought us together so much. And it's almost a treat when people recognize us, say hi to us, and want to have that experience with us, because it also shows us how much we mean. And so it's been an amazing experience, and we're just so grateful for every opportunity that we've had to represent the state of Hawaii.
I've called it like the power of the Hawaii fan base. There's nothing like it. I really wish everybody could be so fortunate. The love and aloha you feel when you walk, like we walked out of the hotel and the hotel was rocking. And then we go on the bus, and even the walk to the bus, and then you come out there, we're 2,500 miles away from here, and we feel like we're at home. And I say that for all our teams. We have one Division I team. We do not have a pro team. And the love and support, they've 106 years of Hawaii basketball, 106. And this group right here, whenever they walk through the halls into the locker room, there's a plaque of every NCAA and NIT team. There will be a plaque added. I know it hurts right now. There will be a ring prepared. And we can look back at this and continue to grow, but that's a representative of a lot of honor. The weather, I've said it when I got hired, everybody talks about the weather and the beauty, and they're right. It's the second best part of Hawaii. It's the people. And so we represent all those people and do it with pride.
And that was the NCAA men's basketball post-game with the University of Hawaii head coach Eran Ganot, along with players Dre Bullock and Isaac Johnson. And and that was University of Hawaii men's basketball head coach Eran Ganot, along with players Dre Bullock and Isaac Johnson, following their 97-78 loss to Arkansas yesterday in the first round of the tournament. But again, a lot of gratitude for the fan base, as it should be. Like we said, that you guys all traveled there and showed up and showed out and throughout the season. And again, I liked how Isaac Johnson kind of shared just not really being in love with basketball anymore, and coming over here really made him find that love once again, like feeling appreciated by all of the people and the fans and getting recognized, and everyone just wanting to, just help out in any way that they can. So that's special, and putting those things out there, right? Like that's a big reason why we share it on our social media, and Hawaii Basketball did, because there are players, as much as we talk about the NIL era and all of this stuff, like there are players, a lot of good players that want to play somewhere because they like to play somewhere like
so
that,
like
where it's not
basketball,
but play somewhere about the culture, about the fit, about what school they're going to, all of that stuff. There are still a significant amount of players out there that want to go somewhere special. And I think Hawaii, I hope during this era for basketball specifically that we're talking about, men's and women's basketball, because the Rainbow Wahine made their run to the Big West Conference Tournament Championship and could have been right there to punch their ticket as well. But hopefully it got people paying attention to realize, like, wow, well, maybe, yeah, I do want to go play out there in Hawaii, even when they go into the Mountain West, right? And that's why we say when we talk about the bills and stuff in the House and Senate with NIL, a lot of this money is just to make it not a struggle fest and a struggle bus for athletes that choose to want to represent the state and all that stuff, where they will choose to want to play here because they hear about how special it is and how great the people are, how great the fans are. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it pains me to think about there might be like, but when I think of like toxic fans, like those are probably fans that aren't even from here that will slide into people like student athletes like DMs, right? And all that stuff. Yeah. But that's prominent like in other areas at other schools, right? Like the level of people that are just so awful to these athletes are like next level, but like in Hawaii, it's like it's so genuine, and people are just like, okay, well, we're gonna support you.
Do you notice the NCAA is playing? I think it's the NCAA. Somebody is playing a commercial during the March Madness tournament, talking about how it's like loser stuff to slide into players' DMs about like bets and stuff. I love it. I adore it. They keep playing it. Every time they play it, I get this smirk on my face. I can't help it because I agree. And yeah, to echo your point, that's part of what makes Hawaii so great is exactly what Big Fish said, exactly what Dre said, and what they've been quoted on throughout the entire season. I mean, they feel as though they are celebrities here. And, you know, you might feel that way at certain colleges or at big colleges and whatever. But you also probably are closer to just a number.
Yeah.
You know, and Big Fish actually talked about this quite a bit, especially as the season started to wind down, how this coaching staff, how this fan base, how this program, everything Hawaii, they do such a phenomenal job making you feel as though you are such a key cog to the success of the program, and that regardless of if you are Big Fish playing 25 minutes a night and earning first team all conference, or AJ Economo toiling away on scout team and you know only getting in when the game's out of hand one way or the other, you are equally important to this team's success. You know, every team wants to feel that way. Every team wants to think that they have created that culture, that they are able to make their players feel that way. Very rarely do you get places that actually have the ability to make that real life. Hawaii is one of those rare places, if not the rare place, where that can actually happen. And Big Fish talked a lot about it throughout the regular season, throughout the postseason. And I am glad because, it's a special place. It's what we love about college sports is that, in a sense, they get this professional. Darius Acuff Jr. is going to go play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Malik Thomas is going to go play in the NBA. Trevon Brazil, whatever.
Cameron Boozer.
Right. They are going to go play in the NBA. They're going to go get the professional experience. They will get, the girls fawning over you and the families coming, spending hard money to get your autograph a game and whatever. They will get that. It'll be part of their life. And they have earned that. They have worked for that, whatever. That's not the same case for everybody. Out here, you get that opportunity. Out here, you are the professional team. Out here, you get the chance to feel as though you are fully impacting the lives of your community around you just by playing a sport. And that's really, really cool. So, I don't know. I'm proud of our team. I'm still I'm sad that it's over, but man, oh man, I'm glad that they also recognize the power of the people that they play for. And man, did they make sure to emphasize that after yesterday's game.
It feels so weird that it's over.
Yeah.
Like, we're so... Excuse me.
Good work. I just out of nowhere. I feel that way about the season ending as well.
Excuse me.
You're alive. You
Jesus.
back?
It's because my little boo-boo fell in the water today.
Dude, that was... Never mind.
My poor little boo-boo. She drowned.
I see her, or I saw her over by the window, staring out the window.
Yeah. the rain coming down.
I was trying to think of some musical reference,
That's
but all I could think of was Teardrops on My Guitar.
No,
and
it's
not what I want.
For all of my fellow Friends fans out there, it's like when Joey Tribbiani was like sitting against the window.
Great call.
Yeah.
Wow. Great
But it was
call.
like, it wasn't even the window. It was like his water thing.
Yeah.
And he's looking out. But this time it is rain, and my Labubu is, she fell off her little keychain and into the puddle downstairs when I got out of my car. And it was like the delayed, like, oh, I should probably pick her up because she fell. And I just looked and I'm like, Labubu.
It was actually really funny. We do have a question in the chat. What is the farthest that Hawaii basketball has gone in the NCAA tournament in its history? From Joey Del Rosario. Thank you once again for tuning on in. I know Joey's popped in here and there.
Hey, Joey.
The furthest is the round of 32. That was their 2016 victory over Cal. That's the lone victory in program history in the NCAA tournament. After yesterday's loss, they are now 1-6 in their program's history. So there's your history update for the Rainbow Warriors basketball team.
And thank you for that question, Joey. Feel free to anybody else chime in on the live YouTube chat or text us at 808-888-5481, which we did get a text earlier. We'll take a quick break and then we'll get to that text that has to do with the women's basketball tournament. So when we come back, we'll kind of talk a little bit about the women's basketball tournament, how that has gotten started today, and then also maybe take a look at some of our brackets, maybe some bracket busters. Want to hear if you guys got any significant upsets in your brackets as well, or if you called any good ones. So we'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more local sports talk with Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming only at hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming at hawaiisportsradio.com and on our YouTube channel. What? Yes, we are streaming on our YouTube channel for the first time in quite some time. It's our again, still have to work out some kinks and working through our workflows, but at least we got it going. I know we were asked about it. I'm sure our friends, our usual YouTube lists or viewers in Felipe and Oh my gosh, Caesar. Sorry, I was like, I know Felipe was the one that texted us and missed us so much, but
Caesar changed his name to Husky Lover
on
YouTube, so that's why you had just.
That's right, it's the Husky Lover.
You had just flipped in your mind the name from Caesar to Husky Lover, of course. But no, I'm sure that both of them are excited that we're back, or at least hopefully they are excited that we're back.
Well, I'm saying they'll get the memo later on that we're back because
Mama Heather
they're usually chiming in right now.
Mama Heather is excited that we're back.
Yay.
I did get a text saying welcome back to YouTube. So thank you to Mama Heather for tuning on.
We did get another question from Joey in the YouTube chat though. Did any of the players in Hawaii get paid NIL ? It would be nice to see an upcoming superstar play for them in the near future. So yes, we were talking about this earlier when we were comparing at least. So not all numbers are public. It's just kind of people go in there or like try to see whatever information they can find out. So there was a couple of tweets out that this was before the tournament started and when the matchups came out that was showing the differences in NIL budgets, and Arkansas has like I think a little over 11 million, and then Hawaii is somewhere just over $1 million. So they do get paid a little bit of money. I know $1 million in Hawaii, of course, everyone's like a little bit, that's a lot, but spread out between the roster, especially in Division I men's college basketball, it's not very much, and it's about a $10 million difference in NIL roster makeup between Hawaii and Arkansas. And Hawaii will probably never get to the AJ Dybantsta price to afford someone like that. So it just depends on what your definition of superstar is. If it is that level or like a Darius Acuff Jr. My gosh.
I was going to say, you brought this Ninth Island sickness back with you.
It's just like the post-nasal drip that's just not going away.
That's what they all say. That's what they all say.
Hold on while I sip my coffee.
I will hold on. I'll hold on here. But yeah, to echo your point, it's unfortunate because I'm sure you'd love, if you were Hawaii, you'd love to be in the mix for like one of these 5-star top of the list, whatever, the ESPN 247 rivals, all of those. Like, I'm sure they'd love to be at the top of those rankings. But unfortunately, as we saw with AJ Dybantsta and some of the top players, those numbers get into, really, really rich prices to the point where Hawaii could, in theory, Hawaii could probably fundraise enough to get to about $5 million. But also, that would be wild to spend it all on one player.
Yeah.
Because that would be they get $5 million to build their team. So it'd be the top player, the blue chipper, and then, I don't know, your local uncle from the YMCA or from whatever, the local gym. Like, it would be tough in that sense. And that's why it's like, you do look at Hawaii, and that is part of the pride in building this Hawaii team this year, and the fact that, and I understand, listen, $1.2 million, and that's estimated, once again, that's not a confirmed number, but $1.2 million, it sounds like a lot of money still, but when you're thinking about building out an entire roster, especially a winning roster, that's probably the bare minimum that you're going to be able to do it with going into the Mountain West. I don't even know if that's enough.
But you know what? What is the point of spending all this money of players anyways, right? Like, what is the point?
Okay,
because is the point... Oh, no, I'm going to get to my point.
I was going to say...
What is the point of spending all this money? Like, what? You're just going to give them money. Like, what is the point, right? Oh, yeah, the point is to win basketball games. Oh. Didn't one of the highest paid men's basketball players this year, and AJ Dybantsta? Oh, wait. How did that work out for BYU losing to Texas yesterday in the first round exit of the NCAA tournament? Oh, how's that working out? Isn't that the whole point? Is the reason why you're paying these players the pay to play that nobody in the P4 level wants to admit that this is, and it is not true NIL? It's like, yeah, the point is supposedly to win games and to ultimately win the championship, right? Yeah. BYU. That worked out very well for them with AJ Dimansta yesterday. And they won as many games as the University of Hawaii did in the NCAA tournament. Like, let's go. So that's why it's interesting with this NIL era where as much as like Hawaii, again, like we want to invest in our student athletes, but they're not trying to get the players that are the most expensive and things like that, because Hawaii is all about team and culture and the people. And I'm not saying every player is like that, but you know, there's some type of ego with some players that get paid a certain price tag, and maybe they aren't as, you know, one with the fans and aren't as appreciative and are too Hollywood. And if you're like that here, that does not work in Hawaii, where if you are the best player, but you are someone that is not thankful for the community here, yeah, you're gonna get booed real quick, and people are not gonna like you here. Yeah, okay, you might win basketball games, but if when you walk out the court, you don't want to sign autographs or, you know, want to be all a superstar and be like, oh no, like you got to pay for my autograph, stuff like that, like some ridiculous thing, like you're already at the quote unquote actual professional level. That would not work here. So fortunately, the coaches that are here coaching for the University of Hawaii are more in tune with that and don't always recruit based on the highest price tag and what maybe is going to be the best player. They always look for fit. And I'm not just talking about men's basketball or women's basketball, but that seems to be the case across all of our sports. Yeah, they are going to find some of the best players, but if that best player doesn't have that right personality or attitude, then they're going to move on, or they're only being like, well, how much are you going to pay me? How much are you going to, if the conversation is only surrounded around money, that's not what UH coaches are always going to be interested in. And I think we like that way, right? Like people in Hawaii that's kind of what how things are here. But here's looking at Uzak though, and Oprah, and Larry Ellison.
All the rich people who live here and take up land for their part-time vacation homes.
All of those people that just vacation out. You know what? Even like the everyone, the outside investors from different countries that just want to buy condos here and everything like that. All of you just drop like 1.5% of whatever your net worth is into the bucket of University of Hawaii sports, and then we'll call it a day. And then it all adds up, because there is a lot of wealthy people from all across the world, not just this country, that are reaping the benefits of having real estate here in Hawaii. So yeah, here's to looking at all of you guys. Anyways, I digress, because that is definitely a long conversation that we can have for another day. But right now we got to take another commercial break. So we'll be right back for hour number 2 on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network and streaming live on our YouTube channel.
Broadcasting live 24/7 from Hawaii and Las Vegas. This is HSRN, streaming at hawaiisportsradio.com.
Since 1976, locals have loved this place. And now the newly renovated Pearl at Kalawao is ready for your next round. Play their championship 18-hole course, or sharpen your short game on the brand new Namomi Ekolu 3-hole pitch and putt. Open daily for residents, visitors, juniors, and groups. No membership required. With Kama'aina rates, rental clubs, and a full driving range, Pearl at Kalawao is golf reimagined. Pearl at Kalawao, where Hawaii comes to play.
Your health tip of the week is with Dr. Timothy Swindle of Hawaii Pacific Health.
Colorectal cancer is one of the most common types of cancer in the U.S., but it is preventable and treatable if detected early. Speak to your doctor about getting colorectal cancer screenings at regular intervals starting at age 45. With a team of experts and leading-edge technology, Hawaii Pacific Health's medical centers and clinics are there to help you live healthier.
Learn more at hawaiipacifichealth.org/cancer centers.
Did you know that you can support Hawaii Pacific University athletics year-round? HPU family, friends, and fans help to support the department's competitive programs by making contributions to the annual fund. Your generous gifts go towards operational costs such as travel, equipment, scholarships, and more. By making a gift to the annual fund for HPU athletics, you're helping to provide the very best experience for more than 250 student athletes. Visit hpu.edu/giving to support the HPU Sharks today.
Big news from Pearl at Kalawao. Dinner is now on the menu. Their newly renovated restaurant is open late every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday until 8:30 p.m. Enjoy delicious new entrees, grilled ribeye, barbecue ribs, shrimp scampi, and more, alongside returning favorites made with locally sourced ingredients. Perfect for a night out after golf, pauhana, or family dinner. Pearl at Kalawao, now open for dinner 3 nights a week.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht, and you're listening on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network or watching on our YouTube channel, or you can always listen or watch on demand wherever you get most podcasts or on our YouTube. Trying out our YouTube for the first time today. A little bit of a late start and still trying to figure out all the buttons to push in the right orders. So, we're doing the darn thing as best that we can. So, we appreciate you guys for being patient.
Cool. Quit coughing. Goodness gracious. What are we doing, man? Too much on that Maui Wowie. You know.
I wish that was the case.
Then it'd be a real legitimate reason.
Then, I could be like,
at
sorry.
Least it's not like
I had a good time last night.
It's less annoying. I always find coughing to be annoying. Annoying for me personally. Like when I have a coughing fit, I feel bad for everyone else because I'm like, I promise I cannot control this.
Exactly.
And I am trying my best to stop it, and nothing I do helps. And I don't know. I cough violently, so my face gets red, and it's I get all, I don't know. It's brutal. So I feel bad.
What does it mean to cough violently?
I don't know. There's a lot of force, I guess, when I'm, whatever. It's rough. You can ask my wife. You can ask my friends. It's the same thing when I sneeze, when I cough, anything that I have to do like that. It's got to be loud. Maybe it's the East Coast in me. That's possible. Everything, because the way you're coughing is almost violent, I would say. The coughs that I rip off are chest shaking for no reason whatsoever. It's not even I'm sick or on that Maui. It's literally when I cough, it's got to be that. And to be fair, it's to clear out the lungs and the chest and the whatever. And
mine's just that post nasal drip that you get.
Yeah, well.
Because, I don't know, the awesome from Vegas dry air to this air that we have and moisture in the air and everything else that's going on right now.
Whatever.
Blah, 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 blah.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I keep forgetting that it's Friday, too. I don't know why. I think it's because we're on YouTube today, and that's I'm so used to it being Monday YouTube. I don't know. It also feels like a special day. I don't know. It's strange. The weekend isn't really a break for us. I don't know. I doesn't feel like Aloha Friday to me. I say with my little cat slippers on. So
you're definitely in the Aloha Friday attire.
But this is kind of what I do. This is just Aloha Paul. This is what I do. This is how I survive.
Oh man, I will survive. Anyways, okay, getting back on track. And I was trying not to get further in any conversation, mainly because I was all right, is the cough done?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We're good.
I got
think
bad
we're
news.
good.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get down from here without a lot of effort. Not as
wait a minute.
Because I sat it there at first, and I was
that should be easy. You're the guy that can kick your leg up in the air.
But my hip is already fully extended here because I'm kind of. This would be much easier if I just turned my body like this, but that's no fun. So I'm sitting here, I'm trying to. You know,
There we go.
I got it down.
Success.
This is the type of fun that we can have.
That is definitely going on the. We're gonna clip that for the social.
The youngest member of the team, by the way.
Cannot get his leg down from there. I could probably do that.
Probably pretty easily too.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It was way more difficult than I expected because I was like sitting there. I'm like, all right, now that the camera's off me, let me just slide this down real quick. And then I went to do it and it did not move. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Oh, gosh.
All right, getting back to some NCAA basketball. Let's kind of take a look though at the women's side because we did. Sorry, I teased that in like the beginning and then we never got into it. But the NCAA women's basketball bracket. Our texter had texted in about the Big West representative that played and did not advance and did not have a very good game. And that is the 14 seed and Big West Conference Tournament champ, the team to beat the University of Hawaii, UC San Diego, losing to TCU 86-40 in the first round. So the texter had asked, UCSD got pummeled by TCU. Do you think UH would have done any better?
If you are asking me, yes. That's my short answer. My longer answer is yes, but more so because I believe in the Rainbow Wahine's defense to just keep things close. Whereas UC San Diego, I think their style of play here, allow me to do this. I think UC San Diego's defensive style of play was closer to Cal State Fullerton, which is take chances, high risk, high reward, rather than Hawaii's defense, which is much more fundamentally sound, much more keep the opponent scoring low and will try and grind out a victory. I think back to Hawaii playing against UCLA last year, right? Now, did they win that game? No. Am I saying Hawaii would beat TCU? No. Do I think Hawaii would lose by 46 points to TCU? Also no. I think they'd lose by like 25-30. Because the Horned Frogs are very good. They have...
Yeah.
I won't try and say how many players are better than her. I know a first-team All-American level player in Olivia Miles. She is outstanding, and she has actual surrounding pieces. So it's a difficult team. But we've talked about it all season. The Hawaii defense is otherworldly. Imani Perez gives you a trump card that you can put on literally anybody from any size. It would be really fun to see Imani matched up against an Olivia Miles, just defensively to see Imani's length or lateral quickness, the ability to try and do that. Or is that even what you do? Do you try and go somewhere else? Does Imani get a matchup elsewhere? So I would have been interested to see it just because I think the defense of the Rainbow Wahine would have allowed them to remain closer, maybe not make it like a 15-point loss, but I do think it would have been like not a 46-point loss like UC San Diego.
Well, it's just like 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? I want to say it was that LSU matchup that Hawaii had.
They had LSU.
And I remember that whole tournament, like up until when LSU
Hawaii
got
was
to the championship.
One.
Yeah, and they lost by maybe like 30 or so, but like they lost by the least amount of points to LSU for their entire run of the tournament. And so that's kind of like to add to what you're saying is like, yeah, they may have not even come close to competing per se.
Yeah, quote unquote.
But they would have kept it a lot closer than other teams like how we saw with UC San Diego. And I can get with that because we've already seen it happen where the Hawaii defense was able to at least contain Angel Reese and a very, very good LSU team at that time.
Yeah, I think very, very highly of this Rainbow Wahine defensive scheme, and similar to what we were talking about with the men and the reason that we felt pretty confident about their ability to compete against a P4 opponent is that Hawaii does a really nice job competing or recruiting larger players, like actual P4 size, where, I mean, and to be fair, UC San Diego, they do have size. They do have a quality player in Aaron Condren and whatever. But Hawaii's got multiple bodies in Imani Perez and Ratoria Tamilo on top of having players with guard skills like Kyra Webb, who are bigger and taller and stronger and whatever. It's like you have those types of players that give you the ability to play against the bigger athletes. Whereas, like, I'm curious, how did Michaela Rose fare today, who is a phenomenal defensive player, but she creates a little bit more havoc.
5 points.
Yeah, she creates a little bit more havoc against smaller opponents rather than the bigger P4s, whereas Hawaii's defense, I think, would be good against a smaller team, bigger team, whatever it may be. I think that it's a little less gimmicky in nature, if that makes sense. I always feel bad saying stuff like that because it sounds like I'm talking smack, and I'm really not trying to talk smack. Because I think UC San Diego's a phenomenal team. I think they had a great season. They absolutely deserve to be there, yada, 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 yada. I think TCU is a horrible matchup for them. I think Hawaii would match up better against TCU. And I think that is why I believe that they would have fared better, albeit not even close still to an upset victory. Because I don't think this Hawaii team's offense was good enough either to compete against TCU, whereas UC San Diego's offense, I think, is far better than Hawaii's. So I think you can make little trade-offs there. Nonetheless, I mean, we're starting to see the lines be blurred a little bit more between P4 and G6 on the women's side, but we've still got a little ways to go before we get to where we've seen March Madness be on the men's side, where there are these double-digit seed Cinderella runs that can legitimately make, the Final Four or whatever it may be, rather than, on the women's side, it typically feels like you get the top 4 seeds making the Final Four. And if it's not that, then it's like 3 1s and a 2. And to be fair, the men's side has started to move towards that as well, which is why people have started to complain. But I do think Hawaii short answer, yes. Long answer, play the last 7 minutes.
And that's what's going to happen. All right, we're going to have to take a break now. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the upsets that did happen, because thankfully we have a men's tournament now that maybe not overcorrected just yet. We can't consider
almost.
that. Almost, ever so close. If Siena were to come out with the win over Duke, that would have been a nice overcorrection of last year's men's March Madness tournament. But there were still some. Right now, looking at the scores, the number 1 seed Arizona taking it to the 16 seed Long Island. Fins up 76-45. But we'll be right back to talk about that on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Feeling under the weather and tired of waiting to feel better? Get the care you need fast.
Back to more local sports talk with Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming only at hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Yes, streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com. You can catch us live streaming on our website, audio, every weekday morning from 8 to 10. And then every once in a while, like today, we finally brought back our YouTube. So we're streaming live on YouTube. Hello to everybody that is tuning in, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome in. And here is our blank studio right now. So as we mentioned before, those of you who may have followed us from our Studio 1 to Studio 2, it's similar where the walls are really blank. There's background's a little messy and all of that stuff, but hopefully every week we were planning to do our weekly Monday live streams, so you can tune in every Monday, but we thought we'll do a special Aloha Friday version today. But other than that, we'll do a plan for every Monday as well, and hopefully every week we'll start to see some new stuff get put up in here in our new studio. So it's been really fun so far, and we've just been talking about some March Madness. Paul, take it away.
I will take it away. March Madness has been incredibly fun. We do need to decorate the studio. We are definitely still in the process of that. But once it gets... I'm excited because there's actually space in here. I'm not really going to talk about March Madness right now, but there is actually space in here for us to finally kind of put up all of the cool memorabilia that we've collected. And this is a very... very liberal use of we, because a lot of it is stuff that you have collected over your time. And, you know, I've tossed in a thing here and there. Michael tosses in a thing here or there. But we've got so many pictures, and we've got the Maui Invitational bracket, the official bracket behind you from the 40th annual one that we got the opportunity to call, which still was very, very cool. So We'll decorate, don't you worry. But as of right now, you know, it's March Madness. It's trying to figure out how to return to YouTube, trying to figure out all the buttons at the same time. So.
As like, shout out to Boozed264 in the YouTube chat that said need to decorate the studio. So I'm assuming that came in right before you joined in, and you might be new here, so welcome. I don't remember them.
So I'm sitting here. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't recognize.
If you're new here, as we just mentioned, we have moved just recently to a new studio. So yes, we are going to work on making it a lot better. Trust us. We're going to make it look pretty bomb, and so that it will look beautiful. Well, beautifuler. It's already beautiful. She's gorgeous. She has a lot of potential, right? We're in a brand new space. We actually love this new space better than our previous space that we were in. So thank you very much to our amazing company owner and boss for finding us like this perfect space. We have kind of like a area that we actually are going to fit out that we can maybe do more kind of like the couch style podcasts. So that's pretty cool too. So that's where we keep talking about where you guys can hopefully anticipate more content, especially coming up in the fall when we go back into football season, right? Summer will take time to kind of plan out some things in the fall, and then probably the fall time we'll start to work in some new stuff, especially digital, as we are in our all digital era. So we do have an area where, we'll try to set up where it will be similar to styles that you guys are probably really familiar with online, where they're on the couch. It's a very relaxed hanging out type of vibe. So it's pretty neat that we'll have almost like two recording areas, one here for the more professional studio type of vibe, and then another room that will be the relaxed both versions can be a podcast vibe. But yeah, it's pretty neat like that we have now different looks and different rooms, where in our previous studio it was just kind of one look, and the way that the counters were set up you kind of had like the mics differently, and now we have these mic stands that come up from the table instead of the arms in the way. So it's been kind of fun, like trying to figure out the different new angles and everything like that we are efforting. And we appreciate you though for being part of our journey, and now that you're here for the beginning, person boozed 264, you'll be able to see the progression. And we welcome you to come back again. Friday today is kind of a special YouTube day. We audio stream live every weekday morning from 8 to 10 Hawaii time, and then we're live on YouTube, planning to come back every single Monday at minimum 8 to 10 Hawaii time. And we want everyone to join along, and we appreciate all of you that are here. Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's just been such a fun, adventurous journey. Again, shout out to our forever bestie Shane that has been helping us out, especially along with this journey with the audio stream and everything like that. Definitely helped keep my sanity for the last month or so, and now we have moved into the maybe the perfecting era or the tweaking era, right? Like the crazy era, I feel like we have passed, and now we can slowly move into like all right, let's start perfecting things and getting things a little bit better. And granted, it will not be far from perfect, but at least we get to start doing a lot more things. And like I said, making things look a little cool here.
Totally taking the conversation away.
Fine. You're good.
Women's basketball tournament started today, officially started today, first round. I don't remember if I actually asked you, who did you end up picking to win the women's side?
Oh, I didn't even.
You didn't end up getting a bracket in? Who? Then I'll ask you now.
Like I said, to be when my girl Juju Watkins, because she's not playing. I'm like,
broke your heart this year, though they do have another kick butt freshman who
oh my gosh,
when they're together,
so good. And they're so funny. I eat that content up every single day. They are so awesome, and like you love to see how supportive they are of each other, obviously. So when Juju's back next season and then their new freshman, then I'll be back to even though we don't have we used to be those of you who don't know or are new here, thank you again. We used to be, when we were on terrestrial radio, we used to be the affiliate for USC, but because of streaming rights, we are not anymore. So we covered a lot of USC stuff. I will still go back to being a USC women's basketball fan for as long as Juju Watkins is there, because she's just such a fun basketball player to watch. She's like different body type and not exact same style, but just like how we enjoyed watching how she played in Paige Beckers at UConn. Like there's just something about these players that you gravitate to because
100%.
Their flow and everything like that. So Juju Watkins is just my favorite women's collegiate basketball player right now. And when she comes back, I'll go back to cheering for USC, and then they're going to be phenomenal next year.
Understood.
Who did you pick?
So I have a bracket with my family that I picked the UConn women because I have East Coast biases, and I like Gino Auriemma, and I think Sarah Strong is potentially the best player in the country, and I also like AZ Fudd. I also have another bracket that I have UCLA winning because I think UCLA is the best team in the country.
They're so good too. Yeah.
I really like UConn. I get that they're undefeated, all of these things. I cannot shake the feeling that UCLA is going to win the title this year. I can't shake that feeling, which is why I had to create that UCLA bracket. The one with my family is my real bracket, quote unquote, my UConn bracket. But I would have never forgiven myself if I didn't do the mental exercise of like, all right, what does it look like if UCLA goes all the way through and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Because I do believe that there is a world that is the case, and I do believe that this could be the said world because they are very, very good. They are battle-tested, and at some point feels like they got to break through. So it feels like this could be the year. Not going to be easy. Obviously, a pretty tough quadrant there. LSU is the number 2 seed for them as well, and you got Duke, who very, very well coached with Carol Lawson there, and you go down the list. But I don't know. I like UCLA a lot, despite UConn being my ultimate pick in the one that in the bracket pool that matters. UCLA is not my pick, but in my gut, I believe that they will win.
And I'm sure USC is very excited about that.
And that's the thing why I was chuckling while you're sitting there talking about USC.
As long as it's not the UCLA men, because Mick Cronin.
No. Speaking of, do they play
Paul
today?
would crash out if Mick Cronin won a national championship, and it has nothing to do with UCLA.
He won't,
yeah.
thankfully.
It just has to do
I
with
can't stand that guy, dude. He's so miserable. He's so miserable. And I feel bad because, like, I don't know him personally, but Judas Priest, I don't know. Though I will say I am kind of rooting for him in the first round, UCLA in the first round, because there's nothing more in this world that I want to see as a basketball fan than Dan Hurley and Mick Cronin.
Oh my goodness!
Matching up in an NCAA tournament game. The amount of crying in the pregame presser, the postgame presser, and in the middle of the game to the officials would be, I mean, all time. So I am kind of rooting for that. Because that is the matchup should UCLA and UConn each win their first round matchups. They get the privilege of facing off against one another in the second round. So I am rooting for that, much to my dismay of wanting
for now, anyways,
UCLA to have their season out.
All right, taking a look at how the brackets stack up right now. Let's see. Let's take a look at the women's side so far. As we mentioned earlier, that the Big West representative does go down. That is UC San Diego, came in as a 14 seed, went down to 3 seed TCU, 86-40. TCU will play the winner of a game going on right now between 6 seed Washington and 11 seed South Dakota State. Washington up 40-29. Oregon beat Ava Tech 70-60, so a relatively close game in that one. Let's see, going up into the second region in Sacramento, that is the 1 seed UCLA bracket. UCLA though does not play until tomorrow, and they will play Cal Baptist. Any guesses on what the spread is?
Cal Baptist versus UCLA.
Yeah.
34.5.
Not even close.
55.5.
Okay, that one's closer. 51.5. Yeah, so UCLA 51.5 a point favorite over the 16 seed Cal Baptist. Just tipped off Ole Miss versus Gonzaga. Let's see, Nebraska beating Baylor right now 45-38 with 1:48 left in the third. Duke beat Charleston 81-64. And on the opposite side, just one game going. Maryland is up 33-19 over Murray State. And over on the men's side, as we mentioned, we were talking about Hawaii earlier. Yesterday was almost the upset over 1 seed Duke, but Siena not able to close it out. So Duke beating Siena 71-65. Another completed series there. Louisville beat South Florida. Michigan State beat North Dakota State. So it'll be Louisville and Michigan State in the second round. And sorry, let me go back up. TCU, if you consider a 9/8 an upset, then that happened. TCU beat Ohio State 66-64, and they'll play Duke over in the South region. Vanderbilt, the 5 seed beat 12 seed McNeese 78-68. So, hey, relatively close game there. They will move on to play Nebraska, who beat Troy 76-47. VCU, a game that I had in our bracket for our Hawaii Sports Radio Network, won the upset over North Carolina 82-78. They will play Illinois, who beat Penn 105-70. Also, Houston taking care of business. That's who I have to win the Natty, because if it wasn't going to be our UH, I was like, why not go with the other UH here? So they beat Idaho yesterday 78-47. By the way, did you see the Idaho coach's post game? He's so cute. He's just happy to be there.
I was going to say, I saw a bunch of clips from him. He seems dope. This is the time of the year, though, where you learn, oh, that's my new favorite coach.
Yeah.
Or because the High Point
coach.
Oh,
High Points. Yeah.
Whew, fire me up.
Yeah.
Fire me up, coach. I mean, I love the fiery coaches. I love the coaches who are just thankful to be there, that are grateful for the opportunity. It reminds you of how special of an experience this is for these people. So, I don't know. I like seeing moments like that. I did, yes, in answering your question, yes, I did.
He's just I don't know. He was just the good vibes over there with the Idaho coach. All right, over on the other side at Kentucky. overtime game, barely escaping. So 7-seed Kentucky barely escaping 10-seed Santa Clara, 89-84. And they will await the winner right now between 2-seed Iowa State and 15-seed Tennessee State. Iowa State taking care of business at the moment, 32-9. Texas Tech over Akron, 91-71. They're waiting for the winner of Alabama and Hofstra. Alabama just a slight lead, but the game just started 16-12 over Hofstra. Michigan taking care of business over Howard. They will play St. Louis, who got a big win over Georgia, 102-77.
Started to look like a safety issue. You like that? You like that little callback right there? Yeah.
I like what you did there. That was a good one.
Somebody take
No,
away
don't
the
apologize.
Georgia
I don't
player.
like
Somebody
that
take
one.
those Georgia players. Anyway.
Gonzaga beating. This was another close one. See, this, I'm glad, even though there weren't a ton of upsets, there were enough, and there were enough close games of the lower seed and the higher seeds and the mid-majors and like these B4 schools and yada, 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 the ones that they want to give more opportunities to in this tournament. But Gonzaga over Kennesaw State, the 3 versus the 14, only 73-64. As we mentioned earlier, Texas beating BYU and the very expensive AJ Dybantsta, 79-71. So it'd be Texas versus Gonzaga. And then High Point, shout out HPU, beating Wisconsin 83-82. And if you missed it, the guy that scored the game-winning layup, first 2-pointer of the entire season. So it was pretty awesome. And they will face Arkansas, who beat Hawaii 97-78. And going on right now, 1-seed Arizona versus Long Island. Arizona winning right now 90-55. And game is almost pal. All right, we're going to go. Is Zoar going to join us after this?
Yeah.
All right, Zoar Nedd's going to come and join us to recap that, or get his thoughts on that Arkansas-Hawaii game when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com and on our YouTube channel as well. And you can always catch us on demand wherever you get most podcasts. Thank you for hanging out with us. Woo! Go Bows! We're going to get back into specifically some Go Bows conversation, and welcome into the show former player Zoar Nedd. Zoar, hello. How are you?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Yeah. Are you driving around? It sounds like you're driving.
Correct, but hands-free.
Okay, good.
There's no worries here, Ku'ule. Auntie is always worried.
Yes,
all right, well, we're ready to get your thoughts about what you saw in that game yesterday between Hawaii and Arkansas. Hawaii ultimately falling 97-78 to the Razorbacks in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough start to watch. I mean, they were getting a lot of great looks. I can tell that, like, whatever was talked about in film and whatever they scouted really well because they were getting wide open shots, but we just weren't connecting. to start. But once they settled down, I felt like there were pockets of time where we could have made a little run or here or there if a shot falls. A couple of times they cut it to 10. I remember we had the ball. I think Hunter had just made a couple threes. They drew up a play for him to shoot another three. He missed, and then they went on that run. There was that stretch where Acuff went out with the 2 fouls, and that was a moment where I was texting Paul. I was like, if we can cut this down to 7 by half, we'll put a little bit of pressure on them in terms of the full game. But they went on that run with those 2 amazing alley-oop dunks, and it kind of took the air out of everything. And for some way, that bank 3 that Hunter makes at half, apparently that didn't count too. So it was just like there were so much things that we had to fight against. I'm sure that the coaching staff is probably disappointed in a way that like the rebounding went, from a standpoint of just like, coming off of a game with Irvine where you have to have a mindset to box out and crash the glass. I don't know if I want to say the same level of focus wasn't there, because I'm assuming that the guys were off focus, but I just don't think that they were ready for the level of physicality and athleticism. But it's a good learning curve for them. It's a great season in terms of just like where we were last year, and now we're in a situation where had a first round bid in the NCAA tournament, and it's a room for them to grow. I'm excited to see, or interested to see what's going to happen in these next couple of months. I know Ganot's contract is up, and I'm sure that he's in talks with that too. But I'm happy where Hawaii basketball is right now.
I think that you echo a lot of the similar thoughts that we had, at least in our first hour conversation, where a lot of pride still in this team and a lot of pride still in what they did representing the island. You bring up the slow start. From where you were sitting, was it just kind of bad shooting? Was there something that Arkansas did scheme-wise early on in those first 7 minutes that really allowed the Razorbacks to jump out to that lead? Because it did feel like after the first couple of stretches that Hawaii played them relatively even the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, as a shooter, I'm going to have this really, really bad bias, but anytime you play in a tournament like that, they will pump the basketball up to the max, and you could tell. I mean, I don't really want to make excuses, but I'm going to make excuses from the standpoint. Like, that ball was definitely pumped to the absolute max. Like, you could see, like, if you look like on all those shots, like, they were either super long or, like, super short. It was like there was no give. And once they started to kind of understand the ball and the situation, obviously, like, nerves coming to a fact, but, there were some looks like earlier that Fish had that were like wide open that he was knocking down in the second half, and you can tell that, like, maybe if he makes those shots. I mean, I remember there was a stretch where he missed a couple, and then like he had a couple bunnies that he kind of short armed. It was just like one of those things where it was we weren't getting anything to fall our way. I don't think that it was anything that Arkansas did defensively, because I mean, after the first media, I think that Calipari was interviewed, and he was like, they're missing really good shots. And I've been in the locker room like that with EG, and there's been moments where he's like, we're getting the shots we want, we just got to make it. Now, unfortunately, things didn't go well the defensive end, but I think that it wasn't really a matter of anything that they did. It was more so what we just missed shots. And, you could live with that as like a fan and as a coach or a player.
I think that's totally fair, and you kind of led me exactly to where I wanted to go next, where, a lot was made of Hawaii's defense going into this matchup, the quote-unquote no help, even though you and I and everybody knows that that's not exactly what the Hawaii scheme is, but, a lot was made about it, and ultimately it did seem as though Arkansas got some easy looks, albeit in transition or when they broke down the zone. Would you have done anything differently defensively? Do you feel good about the way that they went about things? I am a big proponent that this game changed a lot because of Isaac Johnson's foul trouble. It felt like when he was in there, the defense was much more effective. enforcing what Hawaii wanted a bit more, whether that was mid-range shots, whether that was a little bit more off-target, lob passes. So to me, it seemed that the scheme itself worked fine. It just, the bodies ultimately fell short with Isaac Johnson going into foul trouble. Yassine Toomey didn't have all that great stretch in the first half. And Hawaii's size, albeit great compared to other mid-major teams, Arkansas still had as much size to make the adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just some things like small details. I think that there are some situations, you know, Arkansas didn't really do much ISO. It was a lot of like flares and down screens and three game. Then they put Acuff in situations where, you know, he was running the baseline and Dre's kind of running through a bunch of screens. So maybe if there is more help from the, you know, the screener in terms of just being up a little bit higher in the gaps, small things that, like, you know, players may not have felt like in the moment that they were far off, but, you know, I'm sure if they watch the film and it'll be stuff that needs to be critiqued. I don't think that it was anything, you know, the one thing about zone, there are, you know, weaknesses in every single zone, and, you know, the middle, and they schemed up good plays for the zone, especially, you know, getting guys to the middle. They had some people screening our center in some of the plays. So I wouldn't say that there was anything defensively. I don't think that, like, it wasn't the way, when I was watching the game, it didn't feel like Acuff was just like every single play just ISOing and getting by people. It was just like he had to work for a lot of his buckets, especially when Zay was guarding him and Dre. But I feel like Dre, you know, he had to do so much of the scoring and handle so much of the scoring load that, like, after a while he kind of got tired. So yeah, I feel like I don't really want to say that there's anything they could have done defensively different. I would just say that, like, honing in on their principles a little bit more and digging deep in certain situations would have helped them a little bit better.
I think that's absolutely fair, and that's kind of where I ended up as well, because I had similar thoughts where Acuff was going to get his. That we knew that going into the game. We discussed that going into the game as we've got sirens going on outside. But I thought he had to work for basically everything he got. I thought Malik Thomas was incredibly impressive for Arkansas as well, their other young guard. And obviously they had the athleticism to answer the size in the front court that Hawaii had. You mentioned it before now, and this is kind of where I want to end off our conversation. I'll let you go for the rest of the day, but you know, you bring up the offseason and what's ahead for Hawaii. Stephen Tsai of the Star Advertiser reported yesterday that Matt Elliott did want to bring back, by all accounts, does want to bring back Eran Ganot, though negotiations are ongoing. Let's go under the assumption that there is going to be continuity going into next year, going into the Mountain West. Obviously, 6 guys graduating from this team and a lot of not just talent but production from this year's group leaving. In your opinion, it can be whether it's a player archetype, whether it's a character, whether it's a personality, whatever it may be. What is the most important thing, or what are a couple of the most important things for Hawaii to key in on as they enter this transfer portal period and this transitional period into the Mountain West?
I feel like, you know, last year it was a little bit different compared to this year. I think that they've found a groove when it comes to this portal. You know, what you need to do, you need size. You need every team that's done really well under Ganot, they've had a big man that could shoot it. You know, when you look at Kamaka, you look at Jerome, you look at Fish recently, and even his first year with Jenks, those are all stretch 5s, stretch 4s. I think that's where you need to start off with. And then, you know, the guard play is going to be interesting because, you know, you have a couple guards that are coming off of injuries. But I feel like the nucleus is there in terms of, if, you know, you never know with this transfer portal world who's going to stay and who's going to go. But, I mean, I feel like they have a better grasp at how to navigate through NIL and in the transfer portal than they did in years past. I think this is the biggest thing, you know, Coach Ganot being, you know, I'm speaking as if you know, all goes well and he ends up, you know, getting an extension. He's not going to bring in guys that, you know, don't love the sport and don't love, Hawaii. And I think that's one thing he does really good in his recruiting is he kind of hammers down the fact that, you got to be a good person and, you got to love hoop and you got to love where you're who and where you're playing for. But I think that, what I would like to see them do is try and, again, mimic the formula that's worked in years past, with that being, getting a stretch five. I would love for them to have a more sec type of big coming off the bench, just so that, if you run into a situation like yesterday where, Fish gets into foul trouble, you have somebody else that can provide a good punch coming off the bench. I think that's a huge thing for them going into the next year, just getting depth in the front court.
I could not agree more. I feel like you just stole the words right out of my brain and put them out, so that makes me feel a lot better. Thanks for stopping on, my friend. I know that you wanted to get a couple of thoughts out about yesterday's game, and I am glad that it seems that all of us are in agreement that yesterday's still plenty to be proud of for our Rainbow Warriors, albeit in a loss in the opening round of the NCAA tournament.
Yes, I agree. And I just want to say one last thing. To anyone that may think that, have questions about Ganot or whatever the case may be when it comes to re-signing, I think that, you guys should look at the fact that you need, when it comes to getting a new coach for Hawaii and coaches in general, whether it be football or basketball, you have to get someone that understands Hawaii. And I feel like Ganot is a really good person for Hawaii in terms of just understanding the culture and everything. So I don't think that we shouldn't be too quick to move on or do anything like that. Let's build off of what we already have going on here.
I love it. I would echo your sentiment. I think that is the feeling inside this studio as well. But we'll see what ends up happening. Thanks for stopping on, my friend, and we'll have you again. This is nice. Well, we're having you on more and more now that we've got this Bluetooth capability.
Yeah.
Anytime, any place, I will be there.
Awesome. All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Zoar.
All righty.
Peace.
Zoar Nedd, former University of Hawaii Manoa and Hilo basketball player, and also was on a part of the coaching staff for a little bit as well. Now he's all the way out in Florida, but I know he has been very adamant and very passionate about this team, and I'm glad to hear validation from a former player and someone who has played for current head coach Eran Ganot of a lot of the stuff that we have been saying throughout the season. Of course, what we said throughout the show today, and our takeaways from the game. And yeah, that is going to be the big question mark now, is because right now, technically, which is actually a very scary thought when you think about it, during this time when the season's coming to an end, you guys, Hawaii right now does not have a basketball coach in a sense. I mean, technically, I don't know, say if his current contract ends, because sometimes some schools will put it to the end of April, right? Being that if something happened and you made it all the way to the national championship, you don't want to end the contract before then. So, I mean, I guess it technically does, but okay, let's just say it does go to the end of April. If you don't know that you have a future, because my whole point is the recruiting process, what are you recruiting for if you are so? And I know Iran's going to.
Well, I mean, my question would be, if I'm in another school, I'm trying to recruit.
That's
EG.
true. That's true.
I'm seeing if I can grab him.
Yeah.
Screw the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get a good coach, and then he can build via the transfer portal. And then Hawaii's really screwed because then they got to go through a coaching search and the transfer portal. So
and potentially have to rebuild a lot more than what we are going to assume they will have to do if Eran Ganot and this current coaching staff stays, right? Because we've been very positive of the guards that did sit on the bench, like Tanner Cuff and Aaron Hunkin-Clater. They, by all accounts, seem like they're going to come back with, albeit a coaching staff coming. Now, we're not confirmed or anything like that, but at least
this is once again.
This is kind
right
of
now,
you can kind of get the sense that a lot of these players do come here. They're here for the part of the coaching staff, part of the reason why they love Hawaii, and all of you amazing fans out there as well. But after that, you just don't really know what's happening right now in terms of recruiting. And I agree with Zoar, and we've said it time and time again. Like, I think he worked his way into deserving at least a 3-year to help Hawaii with this transition into the Mountain West, because you don't want to. I mean, we saw it the turnover with the athletic director, right? And it's almost like you got started late because you had to have a turnover at the athletic director position in the craziest change of times in college sports, right? We go back to last July 1st was literally Matt Elliott's first day on the job, and literally when you were legally allowed to start paying players. Like, you don't want to have to go searching for a new men's basketball head coach during the NAL era is still alive and well, and then now you lose a bunch of seniors, and then who knows who's going to return and all of that stuff. So I really, really hope they can come to some kind of agreement soon so that we, especially as fans, will know. And I don't know, I've seen like they already started posting season tickets, where I understand that from a perspective of capitalizing on the hype. But like, if I'm a basketball ball knower, I'm like, well, why would I renew my season tickets if I don't know what coach or player is going to be here next year? You know what I mean?
What
like,
the roster looks like. I don't know what the coaching staff looks like.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we'll be here. I'll take Kyle Shanahan's line. No, I don't even know if we'll be here to wake up tomorrow. Who knows? So, no. And I mean, similarly, at the end of our first hour, we got this text. I say the best recruiters are the current and former players, the ones that experience the people and the culture here. Just look at men's volleyball, football, baseball, and women's basketball. You just need to remind these student athletes that money can't buy lifetime experiences and relationships. Agree wholeheartedly, and I think that, and this was not in echoing our Eran Ganot support, but yeah, dude, it's pouring outside. This was not a text echoing our Eran Ganot support. I do not know where this texter stands on that, but I agree in terms of, yeah, the best recruiters are your current and former players, and a big part of that is like, current players can speak to how they're treated by this current coaching staff, and you have former players on this current coaching staff for Eran Ganot. I am a big believer in continuity. I'm a big believer in continuing on forward. It's just something that makes me more comfortable, especially when I think that you have a positive base to build off of, especially going into a move. That's my personal opinion. I understand some people disagree with it. I understand some people will have their own opinions, and that is perfectly fine. I look at this year, and I agree with Zoar, by the way. I think Hawaii, this coaching staff, has finally figured out an actual formula of, okay, what rosters do we make look best? It's when you got those shooting bigs. It's when you have the ability to play the way that they did this year. Allow them to do that, especially playing in a bigger pool in the Mountain West. Like, they're going after it. I did not mean this, actually, but it is funny the way that it's going to come out. They're going to go after bigger fish now.
On that note, perfect time to end that.
I really didn't mean it that way, but as I started to say, I was like, this actually is funny.
Play the music because of that. Well, that's been the show. Thank you guys for joining in. Tune in Monday. We'll be back on YouTube. Now that we did it for the first time, got over the hump, we'll be back on YouTube. 8 to 10 Hawaii time. Have a great weekend and stay dry if you're here in Hawaii. Stay safe. Take care of each other. For Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ule Agbayani. Bye.
You're listening to the new era of Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Now streaming 24/7 at hawaiisportsradio.com.